Hello, I'm Peggy Northrup, Chief Content Officer of Radivision and host of Chiconomics. Welcome to Season 2 of our series celebrating women founders and CEOs and the superpowers they bring to entrepreneurship, including creativity, a spirit of collaboration, and persistence. I'm joined today by Katie Trouth Taylor, CEO and co-founder of Narratize AI, a generative AI storytelling platform. Katie has served as a senior content strategist at both tech startups and large organizations, including Boeing, NASA, Hershey, and the United Nations, among many others. She holds a PhD in rhetoric and technical communications from Purdue University and focuses on how storytelling can accelerate innovation, especially in scientific enterprises. So I have so many questions for you, Katie, but first of all, would you just tell us about Narratize and why you started this company?
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here. Narratize is a generative AI co-author that's designed for the world's most innovative enterprises. It's truly designed to support teams across research and development, product, innovation, marketing, sales, really all teams from the seed of the idea all the way through to message market fit. And it's designed to be a co-author that embeds into your everyday workflows and enhances those workflows with the power of AI.
Great. Now, you use the word storyteller very frequently, storytelling. Why is storytelling so important to you? And also, I have to say, sometimes AI kind of tells its own stories, which we don't want to hear. And
That's
I know
right.
that Narratize is designed to address that. So, how do you define storytelling in a responsible way?
Definitely. So as a child, we all heard the phrase, don't story tell or you're telling stories, and it meant that you were lying. So really it's critical for us to understand stories are so critical to who we are as humans. We receive information through narrative patterns and we get used to those narrative conventions, and those patterns are in fact the foundation of language and how we build language and how we share insights, how we build community and survive together as humans. So, really, I think, first of all, we start by tackling that misconception about storytelling that it means you're lying. Story can be manipulative. There is this powerful term called narrative persuasion, and it means that there's a power of story to change how we see the world, to change our perceptions, and to be persuaded. So when that's used for ill intent, that can get dangerous. But when it's used for good intent and when it's used in a mindful way and it's put towards helping to better communicate, how to more clearly and impactfully communicate the things that we need to share, that's when it does the most good. And that's when it holds the power of what we call innovation storytelling.
Great. So, tell me a little bit about how Narratize is different from the kind of AI generative models that are out there today. So we know about ChatGPT. A lot of us have experimented with that. How is what you're doing different?
So we're so grateful to be working with incredible customers at Narratize, including Boeing, NASA, Good Housekeeping Institute, Under Armour, very well-known brands. And what really distinguishes Narratize, number one, is the fact that it's human-led. We use a reverse chatbot design, and we plug it into teams' workflows. And so if there are research reports, annual reports, group meetings, unique ways that you're going about segmenting marketing campaigns, all of that, those workflows are put into the Narratize platform in order to spark AI transformation at the enterprise level. That's really critical. If we don't design AI systems to be human led, we think that the adoption will be slow and the ROI won't be experienced to the same capacity if we miss that. Number two, with Narratize, it has much higher accuracy than any large language model alone. So we are an LLM agnostic platform. That means that we call across several different large language models, even sometimes within a single AI workflow. That plus we're building a very unique data architecture that's filled with industry level and domain level knowledge. And that puts guardrails on what is output from the LLMs. So if you take the power of the individual's ideas and you combine it with the best practices in the industry. You embed the AI into our individual workflows. And then at the very end of the day, too, and this is probably the most exciting, and this may be the first public forum where I'm sharing this, we are now a hosted RAG solution, too. And so we're able to partner with the enterprise to train Narratize to retrieve information in your enterprise's knowledge.
So let's move on to your own journey as an entrepreneur. Can you talk about, because I know you had a company before this, so you've made a pivot, at least in terms of the name of your company. Have What was it personally that made you want to do exactly this, and what were some of the milestones that you have hit along the way?
So I didn't know I was going to be an entrepreneur when I first became one. I, like so many people, had an incredible female mentor at Purdue who gave me my first contracted opportunity. It was with the United States government, and it was a strategic communications position. And she taught me how to open a bank account and how to build a team and have a scalable business. And I'll forever be grateful to Kathy Scott for being that champion to me very, very early on, maybe a decade ago. And that's when I founded my first startup. The problem that we were looking to solve was, how do you capture deep insights in science, tech, and medicine, where there's so much domain expertise, there's so much knowledge that experts have within their minds and within those disciplines. How do you capture that and articulate it for non-experts? How do you take an idea from a scientist and actually bring it to market? And that was really the problem that we looked to solve. 5 years ago, as CEO of that company, I said, we will, in the next 5 years, become a technology company. This is a problem that is so pervasive. 30% of professionals' work weeks are spent writing and communicating. And in science, tech, and medical industries, it can be extremely difficult. And there's a lot at stake, right? If we're ineffective in how we communicate an idea, lives can be lost and solutions can be delayed to critical societal and business challenges. And along that journey, we started a podcast actually called Untold Stories of Innovation. We did about 100 different customer discovery interviews with chief innovation officers and chief technology officers across the Fortune 1000. And right at the same time those findings, we were starting to publish them in peer-reviewed journals. OpenAI tapped us to become one of 7 developer ambassadors into their large language and foundational AI models training. So we were really in at the ground level, working to really see what was possible with this technology that the world wouldn't see for another couple of years.
So interesting. So tell me, what's the hardest thing you've had to do as a founder? Is there anything that's just like, oh man, this is not my comfort zone. I really don't want to have to make this decision. I don't want to be involved in this process. Is there anything that you just sort of inwardly have to struggle with?
I think as a woman founder, especially in AI, I face a lot of bias. I
Mhm.
had a customer approach me at a conference a few weeks ago, and he just said, "It took me a while during your talk to believe you because I just saw who you were, and I thought you don't look like what I think an AI CEO should look like." And I
Wow.
was really grateful to him actually for being so vulnerable about that bias and sharing it. I think the hardest part was probably raising the pre-seed round of venture
Mhm.
capital, convincing investors that I am the real deal, and this is a huge problem. And I didn't the problem didn't really need convincing. I did feel that it was hard to speak the language that most of the typical investors spoke, and so
Yes, exactly. Well, and what kind of advice would you give to other women founders? I mean, we're talking to women founders all month, and many of them have some version of your story. People looked at me and they didn't see a founder. People looked at me and I didn't spit the pattern. I didn't have the hoodie. And yet they're making these enormous strides and building companies in a different way. So, what would you advise other women founders to think about?
yeah, I would say find your founder friends, find your female founder friends, find your mentors, find those people who you feel comfortable having those conversations with. And then I think when it comes to fundraising, just get extremely methodical about it. Use the power of the network, come up with a game plan that enables you to work, you know, to methodically think through what investors are going to fund at your level and who knows them. It's really the bias that's in the world of VC is mostly because it's a system based on trust, which is very important, but it also perpetuates some of the problems that have led it to be more gender exclusive. And so I think it's really about breaking down those barriers. Once I was able to approach it really methodically and from an introduction power standpoint, that's when everything changed. It didn't matter if that introduction was coming from an incredible woman or man or whatnot. It helped because it is a system based on trust. So recognizing that and getting your mentors in line to support you and to rally behind you, I think that's the biggest way to get the transfer of trust required to move forward.
Fantastic. And has anything surprised you by being, especially easy or surprisingly
No.
rewarding?
That's
Lots
such
of
a nice
surprises, but none of
question.
none of the easy kind. Okay.
No, that's not true. No, I mean, I think I got bit by the startup bug a decade ago. Once you're bit, I mean, it's hard to go back to normal life. Like it is so exhilarating. We talk right now, the phase that we're in is called, grabbing to the end of the rocket ship and holding on for dear life, That's so exciting. And to see a problem and really know that you've had a part in solving it, that sets you on fire. So every day, literally every day I wake up and I say, there's a solution to a disease. There is a infrastructure challenge. Um, there's a groundbreaking new way of seeing society. Those stories are all waiting to get told. And if we build this well and we build it right and we scale it well, our customers will go solve it using this technology. They'll be able to articulate those ideas effectively and get buy-in that they need. And that is that's the benefit, being passionate about a problem. I think I'll forever be the type of founder, and I think all of us strive for this to be the type of innovator that really latches on to a problem and not just one solution to it.
Do you have a particular success story from one of your customers that you can point to and say, that was exactly what I wanted to be doing for them?
Yeah, I mean, we're so thrilled. We're doing so many things. I think some of our newest customers, like global apparel companies that we probably all wear when we're working out at the gym, we're starting to help them collect innovation ideas internally. So they're able to collect those innovation concepts for new product development from every single person in their enterprise today, thanks to their adoption of Narratize. That's beautiful because innovation sometimes gets siloed into like a very tiny group of people who are passionate about innovation, but we forget that everyone is an innovator and everyone across your business has valuable insights, systems improvements, or potentially groundbreaking new products or services that they could imagine. Your company should be considering all of those things. So that's exciting. I think another really big one, we just launched case study data from our work last year with the United Nations and the World Food Forum. And we deployed Narratize to 500 different innovation teams around the world. They were all competing for research funds. And 87% of the fund winners from 2023 used Narratize to write their pitches. And they're literally, solving world hunger, doing work that's far more important than anything we're all doing alone. And that was amazing to see that this isn't just about saving time. It's not just, it's not just about that. It's truly about effectiveness and being able to tell a clearer, more impactful narrative about your work that helps people be inspired to rally behind it.
So tell me a little bit about, there are so many worries about AI. There's first of all, there's the hype. Oh my gosh, anybody that has AI in their name is suddenly the best thing since sliced bread.
Right.
Then there's the negative. It's like, oh, the robots are coming and they're going to take all of our jobs. Now, of course, I've worked in media for many years and still do. And of course, I think about that. I think about the misinformation that is possible. So what questions do you think we need to be asking as experimenters with this technology, as investors in this technology, and as citizens?
Great question. I think we need to be asking, who built this foundational model? What was the data that it was trained on? And did they uphold pillars of responsible AI while building it? How human centric or human led is this application layer technology? And is it going to help us as humans put guardrails against it or not? So those are some of the key areas I think for invest that I would be asking as a user, as a buyer, as I'm vetting AI vendors. I kind of equate where we're at with responsible AI to where sustainability was in its earliest days, right? Sustainability by businesses was a bit of a secondary thought, and
Hmm.
it took consumer pressure to really put pressure on companies to change that and to adopt sustainable practices. And then now it takes consumer demand to sustain those sustainable practices. I think it's similar with responsible AI, although we're early in this moment. AI governance committees are popping up at almost every enterprise. Thank goodness. And those AI governance committees are responsible for policies and adoption principles and for vetting vendors to ensure that they align with diversity, equity, and inclusion,
Hmm.
AI for good intent, security and privacy, explainability and transparency. And so these are all of the pillars that we uphold at Narratize, and we think not every AI vendor is created equally in that way. And it's critical for those governance committees to be thoughtful when they're deciding what to buy. As investors, I think it's important to look at what's proprietary in these models and in these businesses, and that number one, first and foremost, it is truly solving a problem that needs to get solved. Um, Everybody's so excited about AI. I think that the least likely sustainable businesses are the ones that are they really don't have a true north in terms of what they're trying to solve. They're just excited about the technology and want to build on the technology. And we should be excited about this technology, but if it's not solving a true long-term problem, then you're probably just going to have a difficult time innovating into the long term and being a business that can outlast.
Right. So one other thing that I wanted to ask you is about your superpower. We like to talk about superpowers here in this series because we do believe that women bring certain things to the marketplace, whether they're a leader, entrepreneur, or CEO, or a manager in a business, that women have a particular way of tending to go about things that adds value. And there's lots and lots of data that shows exactly that. Do you define yourself as having a superpower? Do you work with women who you think, oh, that I really get that. That's what we bring together?
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I think my superpower is probably being vigilant about pulling other people's superpowers out.
Mhm.
It probably goes into the way we've designed Narratize at all, to be human led, to listen for your insights, to ask you the right question instead of you having to prompt it. It prompts you and helps you work through and compile your thoughts and your thinking so that your superpowers come to life. There's nothing more painful than sort of seeing someone with incredible subject matter expertise who can't articulate it in a way that it does good in the world. And so that's probably my superpower, is really listening in for others and pulling that out. I have this one other superpower too, which I don't know if it's as relevant, but I can hear something and sort of know exactly how I would word it and how I would extract the insight or extract the right way to frame it. And so I can go really quickly with my note taking into like a note that becomes the right talking point or article. So that's kind of a weird superpower I have.
That's a great
Type in my
superpower.
brain, like
That's a great superpower. We need you. We need you on board for all of our enterprises. Definitely. I think that's an amazing superpower. So, tell me a little bit about what you're looking forward to in 2024 and beyond, both for your company and for the future of AI.
Yeah, a lot of people said, 2023 was generative AI's breakout year, and 2024 needs to be the year that it's actually established in a valid and credible way to add business value and ROI. we're already seeing that in a lot of the new case study data we're rolling out at Narratize, and I'm thrilled to just continue collecting that data and continue to see how and where this can be leveraged for increased, speed, increased capabilities. I think there's so much to be unlocked, and it's going to challenge us. As humanists, it's going to challenge us as professionals to reskill ourselves and to learn how to use these new tools. But again, I think if we design those tools thoughtfully for the use cases that are most relevant to our work, then we'll be doing 60 times what we were able to do in the past, and it will be a delightful experience that will still be human led if we design it right.
I think that goes a long way toward calming people down about what they're about to experience. It's like, if it saves you time and makes you happy, then this is a good thing. This would be a wonderful thing. So are you still raising money, or are you at the point where you don't need to do that anymore?
Great question. Good founders probably answers always yes. We did just close a round at the end of 2023. So we've raised 2 rounds now. We're really happy, proud of that. And yes, into the future, we will likely raise again, and always looking for incredible investors, partners who want to learn more about our business and where it's headed.
Wonderful. Well, we can help you at Radavision do that. Please join our Pitch Planet so that you can get your story out there. And just as a last thing, I like to think in terms of, what's the story I want to tell about this period in my life, say 5 years from now? I bet you've done that same exercise as a storyteller. What's the story that you want to have told about you?
They just rang the NASDAQ bell. and,
Yes.
and all of her kids are just now getting into middle school, and look at all the people and all of the societal and business challenges that have been solved thanks to this technology, and people's ease of using it thanks to Narratize. And we're all better able to leverage the art and science of story in our everyday professional work now because of this. How about that?
That is a great story. Let's
And then
everybody write it down.
Internships if our kids are now starting internships at the company, wouldn't that be another delightful vision of the future?
Exactly. Creating a company that your whole family can be part of. That's wonderful. Katie, thank you so much for a wonderful conversation. I really appreciate it. I hope that other people get an opportunity to check out Narratize and see what it can do for them. I certainly want to check it out. And best of luck to you in 2024. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Can't wait to connect with everyone here. See you soon.
Thank you.